Younger people, generally speaking, their attitudes are quite different to older people. They are more sceptical about institutions, they're less likely to have an affiliation to political parties, much less likely actually. They're less likely to care about certain issues such as immigration. And that's something that older people really care a lot about and younger people don't. And that could be connected to the reasons why younger people are less likely to vote to leave the European Union. Generally speaking, younger people are not politically disengaged, and that's kind of an assumption that's based on a traditional way of doing politics, which is that people vote and they're affiliated to a party, and that's how you express yourself politically. For younger people, that's just not the case anymore. I think there's a really interesting comparison here with this referendum happening in the UK about the EU and the referendum in Scotland a couple of years ago. There's similarities in the sense that they're both referendums, they're both about yes or no questions, they're both about deciding to change the nature, fundamental political nature of the country or not. And yet what's clearly different is the level of engagement, the level of mobilisation. 6 weeks to go before the Scottish referendum, it was on everybody's lips. It was a campaign that managed to mobilise an enormous number of Scottish people and is still talked about today. And it's palpable how different this campaign is, and that the coverage and the discussion is very much about an elite group of politicians and their different arguments with each other. It's about broad economic issues that don't really speak to people and what they really care about or what really drives them. And I think that's a really interesting comparison. So what we're looking at CoVi is how we can examine this divide that exists between younger people and older people in terms of Europe, and what the broader meaning and broader implications of that are. And it speaks to our aim to go beyond partisan divides, and that's very much how younger people see politics. There's been quite a bit of research to suggest two things. Firstly, that the time at which you start voting is really important as to whether you actually vote that first time or not, but also those that vote when they're young for the first time are much more likely to vote as they get older. And if you don't vote the first time you're eligible to vote, you're less likely to vote for the rest of your life. And so I think we need to be really careful and really look at what age it is that people are voting for the first time, because 16 and 17-year-olds, they're still in school, they've still got that communal organisation that's educating them and telling them about things in that organised way, in a way that 18-year-olds don't necessarily have. And so I think it could be really interesting to look at that question of the voting age again, in looking beyond this referendum and into future elections.